Good morning, everyone. You're listening to WHAM Wairarapa. I'm Hayley Gastmeyer, your host, and in the studio with me I've got a guest, Margie.
Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a very fresh morning.
It is a very fresh morning. It's beautiful out there. It's sunny and clear, but yeah, pretty icy and chilly.
And chilly, yes.
Margie, sorry, I don't know. What's your surname?
Crawford.
Crawford.
Yes.
And you're based in Masterton, are you?
No, I live in Carterton, but of course we've all come through to the studios, which are in Masterton.
Yep, we're here at the Arrow FM studio on, what are we on, Church Street, aren't we?
Church Street just moved. Fancy new studios.
I'm always boasting about it on air, but I always I like looking outside, but they put that curtain up so you can't see the beautiful blue skies anymore.
That's right. I think it's using the TV and all the glare that was coming through.
I see. Yeah. So, Margie, what have you come in to talk to us about this morning?
Well, I've come to talk because we're putting on a new series of programs. It's going to be under Preserving Memories, which is on a Sunday morning at 11:30. But for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be doing called Pandemic, which is a 3-part series on the flu pandemic, sometimes known as the Spanish flu of 1918-1919, because it's the centenary of it. And while we all prepare for remembering the war, we should remember that more people died in a matter of 2 months worldwide in the flu pandemic, which killed between 50 million and probably 60 or 70 million worldwide.
Wow. So more people were killed in that than in the war.
That's right. And some people say more than both the wars together. But a lot of it can't be recorded because, indigenous populations didn't have the resources to record. Mm-hmm. So it spread through all walks of life, all types of people. Well, not all types, because it hit basically the age group between 25 and 45.
Okay. Why was it targeted at that age group?
Well, they're not quite sure. It was a particularly virulent kind of flu. We get flu every year. And most people, there's a certain number who die every year, usually young or very old. But this flu was something different. It had mutated. It's a virus. And it was spread first by the soldiers. It hit, the first group were hit in Kansas in America, mid-America. It's transferred from birds, so it comes as mutates and jumps species. And then the soldiers who went off from America, because they entered late in the war, spread it to Europe, both sides, and then it spread through the world by the soldiers going home. And that's horrendous. I mean, because what it did was it seemed to attack the healthy whose immune systems collapsed. And I know
it seems like it attacked the most fit, that's right, the fittest sort of age group. Though.
That's right. And there's a theory that you had big chests and all this sort of stuff, and you had more space in your lungs to let it grow in. But these are theories, so one can't really prove why. But it certainly was so different from any other flu that anybody had ever seen. And it was a time when there wasn't anything that they knew about viruses. Viruses hadn't been discovered until about the 1930s. So they first thought it was a germ. And so any kind of prevention was like keep clean, use disinfectants. No effect at all. Yeah. It just jumped. And I know one of the people I interviewed, this program has taken a year to put together.
Wow. Is it just solely you working on it?
Well, I had a good colleague, I'm going to call her friend still, because I think she suffered. We both feel we've gone through the ringers with it, called Jackie Fuller, who does Book Lovers Corner with me, and she's a very good researcher. Mm-hmm. But my personal reason for doing it is that my grandfather died of it in 1918, and he was a young man of 30, and he was a farmer. So you would have thought, here's a strong young man, and he'd only been married for about 3 years and had one daughter, which was my mother. Yep. She was about 18 months, but she didn't get it. And I never found out if my grandmother got it. But certainly it wasn't only in the towns, it spread everywhere. So I was very lucky. I was able to get 3 really good people to be interviewed. 1 and 2 of them are international renowned experts.
Yeah.
And the one was a Professor Howard Phillips, who is in Cape Town University, which is my old university. So I used the hook in, that I'm an ex-student, and I was visiting South Africa. So in August I did a fantastic interview. He was just like a wealth of knowledge. You kind of switched on the switch and he never stopped. And then I got Professor Rice, Jeffrey Rice, who's New Zealand. Mm-hmm. He's world-renowned, and he is the expert on New Zealand. So we did a lovely telephone interview. Another great guy. These programs like Desert Island Discs, who would you like at your dinner table?
Yeah.
I thought I'd get those two gentlemen. They were gorgeous.
Oh.
Only thing is it would only talk flu.
Yeah.
And then the third one is our Gareth Winter here in Wairarapa, and he's our archivist. So he's got the local, which is all those lovely sort of personal stories.
So you had a worldwide perspective, a perspective of New Zealand, and then how it affect our region.
That's right. So we had worldwide, and the reason why I went for South Africa is because it was about the third heaviest affected of all the countries. The highest one, death rate, percentage-wise, was Samoa.
Wow.
25% of their population died.
Was that due to healthcare or?
Well, they were vulnerable. They hadn't. Also, to understand the flu, there were 3 waves, and if you had got the first wave, which was a minor one, you kind of got slightly immune. It didn't hit the Pacific.
So it's almost like the idea behind vaccination.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what vaccination is. They give you low doses, but not to worry. They can't keep up with this virus because viruses mutate. So every vaccination you get is usually one step behind what's going to happen. I notice your eyes, but I try not to think of that.
Yeah.
But we're better prepared now, much better. But Samoa didn't have an infrastructure. They were very vulnerable, and that's Western Samoa. But American Samoa didn't get any because they closed the borders. They stopped all ships landing.
Wow.
But, most countries' ships were landing and troops were coming off, and it was near armistice. Everyone thought this is the end. Well, nature played another game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you got it, was there any possibility of survival?
Well, if you'd had some immunity, probably, but it was so strong that, if you got to a point where your immune system collapsed, you usually ended up with pneumonia, which is bacterial, but we didn't have antibiotics then. So you would be infected and, flu symptoms. You've had flu. Everyone's had flu. 90% of the population has had flu at some stage of their life. But then came the sort of last 3 days and the whole immune system collapsed, and they literally couldn't get oxygen because their lungs had sort of filled up with foams and horrible things, and they turned purple, and then they turned black, and then they died. So within 3 days, if that symptom started, you were a goner. You were a goner, yeah.
How many people in Wairarapa were affected?
Well, about 4. Well, the biggest thing about the Wairarapa is, remember, we had a army camp
the
at
military,
Featherston. Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, go to Featherston. The graves were kept separate, and
at the cemetery.
And there's a memorial there. Now, the other sad thing about this whole flu thing is there are very few memorials in the world, and the reason for that is, as one of the experts said, you don't remember people who died of flu, but you remember people who heroically died defending the country. It's very sad.
Yeah.
So the memory's in people's hearts. It's not on a stone. And
the thing is, it's 100 years ago now, and there's not many people that are going to be able to keep the story alive. So what you've done is great.
Well, the joy of interviewing these 3 people, each one of them had done research in the 1970s and 80s and interviewed living survivors.
Wow.
They
that's
would have
fantastic.
been 60, 70, 80-year-olds.
Yes.
Of course, now, if you did find anyone, they'd be 101 and they wouldn't remember anything.
Well, they wouldn't be able to communicate it.
No.
Probably.
So I'm a second generation survivor. and you'll find a lot of second ones still around. I mean, I'm not so young, but you won't find many survivors as such.
Yeah. And when you get to the third generation, it's probably already died out.
I know. There's a very poignant thing written in one of the books that says it slips over the horizon of memory. And I thought that's true. You know, unless you keep it alive, it's going to disappear. Although it has had major impacts. I mean, I was reading a Guardian, the newspaper Guardian report, which is starting to appear now. You're starting to see all the newspaper reports sort of reminding people. And it said that the virus has been identified, and it's kept under lock and key in case terrorists get hold of it. It's in America, where the Tannhauser did the most research in the 1990s, and they've got it guarded, and you only can enter the laboratory wearing special clothing and getting security clearance. So
is it nowadays?
That's now at the moment, because it's still alive.
That specific strain? Yes.
Now, if you listen to the program, we'll tell you how they found the virus. Now, I love this story because as people talk about it, it almost becomes like a little person. It fled through the world, it jumped borders, and it's but it could be it's like this flying thing. And it was identified and found in a dead body.
Yeah.
But you've got to listen to the program.
I will. How many hours in total is the program?
Well, they're about 45 minutes each. There are 3 of them.
This doesn't sound long enough, really, for a year's research.
No. Well, you've got a lot of them repeat themselves. They keep talking about the 3 waves and, things and how it spread. But it's often those personal stories that make it real.
Yeah.
It's that visualizing of how did you cope? Because one of the other big things was there wasn't enough people to bury, to dig the graves. There wasn't enough coffins in a lot of places, so you will have people wrapped in, just sailcloth or a blanket. New Zealand was interesting because there are rumours that there was a mass grave in Auckland. But as Professor Rice says, no, what it was were they were poor people who didn't have headstones. And so, although it's a lot of graves, it's not a mass grave as things. Whereas in Samoa, he interviewed someone who said they were dying so quickly they were put one on top of each other.
So people don't even know where their ancestors are buried.
And that had an effect on Maori, because Maori have a whole lot of tradition around death, and because the bodies usually had got septicemia by the time they died. They rotted very quickly. I mean, it sounds just terrible.
Yeah.
And smelt.
Yeah.
So they were buried within 24 hours.
Did it seem to hit all class of people? So it wasn't just lower socio-economic areas?
Which was interesting, because afterwards, the health acts around the world, focused on, because they suddenly realised when they went around collecting bodies what dreadful conditions people were living in. And so a lot of the health acts came out, public health, and they often talked about, these sort of people who lived in undesirable houses and things. They were poor. But it's not that, because there were a number of leaders of the world who died of it or were ill. Haile Selassie of Ethiopia had it, and he recovered. It's also called the Spanish flu because King Alfonso of Spain got it, and it was publicised, but he didn't die. And Woodrow Wilson, he got it, but he didn't die. Some people think that affected the outcome because it was during the Versailles conferences, at the end of the war, when they were sort of dividing up how they're going to deal with Germany. And he was a bit of a pacifist and didn't want Germany to be totally annihilated. And he was away from the table. And, of course, very heavy, stringent things were given to Germany, which people say led to the Second World War. So you can kind of connect all these things. South Africa, the first Prime Minister died, Louis Botha. He actually died of it. So all around the world you had, high profile and then just the ordinary person. And you imagine you're a soldier, you come home and your family's dying.
Yeah.
Or you bringing it, that's even worse.
Oh, yeah. What can you say about how Wairarapa was affected?
Well, Wairarapa, of course, it came by the army through Featherston.
So it arrived in Featherston with
the soldiers. They closed the camps, as soon as they suddenly realised, and something like within about 4 days, over 1,000 men were ill, and they virtually turned the camp into a hospital.
Yeah.
It then spread right through the various towns, got to Masterton, and Masterton. The health department suddenly stepped in and said, okay, we're going to create medicines, and of course cough medicine often contains alcohol, but I didn't realise Masterton was dry at that time.
Was it?
Yes, isn't that funny? When you think of now all the pubs in Masterton and the bottle stores.
Was it almost like illegal?
Yes, it was illegal. So there was a brewery in Masterton, and they couldn't sell it here, so it was taken down to Carterton, and you would go down to Carterton, get your booze and bring it back, very illegally, drink it at home, or make your own.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the sort of side effects. Masterton, there was a woman doctor, and she was very important, and she survived. She got ill, but she did survive. And when I mention women doctors, you remember they're very far and few between. But we've come across quite a few in New Zealand who were at that time.
Oh, good.
And we tell a story of one down south. So Masterton, there was a number, but the biggest concentration was down in Featherston. So, we hit it, and all the towns did. I mean, it was quite spread. And then, of course, the Maori. And the Maori got it later because it's October, November hit here.
Yep.
And then it spread out, and it seemed to be later, more December, as it spread into the rural areas. And, of course, the numbers for Maori are not really known because they weren't always recorded.
I see.
But a higher number, we know that.
When was all of this over with?
Well, it went on till about the second wave, which was the worst wave, went on till about December, January. And then the third wave, which was, by this stage, everyone was kind of immune, which was a milder one, went on till end of 1919.
So we're talking like over a year worth of illness until people could start getting their lives back on track.
Yeah, and so what happened too, the economic effect was everything closed down. So, shops, and I didn't think of it straight away, but, telecommunications, which was telegraph at that stage, all closed down because there wasn't anyone to run the offices, And what happened too was a lot of people were left quite weak afterwards. So there wasn't, it was really a bad time. So other side effect was that young mothers or pregnant mothers were a high number who died. And so their babies died or they were stillborn. So 5 years, 6 years later, the school intake dropped.
Oh, wow.
You see, those sort of side things you don't think of.
No. Impacts that could go on for years.
And the other thing was, remember, armistice came on the 11th of November, but as Gareth Winter points out, we're a day ahead.
Yes.
So we're the 12th of... If you really, the 12th of November.
If you want to do it on the time.
Yes, time. And, of course, people gathered. And that was the worst thing that could have happened.
They all gathered to celebrate, and it was,
and sneezing, because it was, through coughing and sneezing that it spread. Yeah.
With the experts that you spoke with who had interviewed survivors, did they have the people's stories? How did they have those people's stories recorded?
Well, this is interesting because, of course, in the 70s and 80s, it was tape.
Yeah.
And I know when I was talking to Professor...
Audio tape,
and that's not the clearest or the... we've got fantastic technology now.
We do, yeah.
So I was talking to Professor Phillips about it, and he said, well, he's now transcribed them, they put them on thing, and he's actually writing a book.
Oh, cool.
But he said the transcribing from the tape is so difficult. They're first digitising it, and it's not all that clear, and then they've got to put it into, someone types it up and so on.
Yeah.
And Professor Rice is doing exactly the same. They're both doing all their audio recordings. Now, our Wairarapa recordings the oral history is actually online. So if you go
Gareth
to the website,
Winter did that, didn't he?
Yeah. So if you go to, you can actually listen to them. They're short bits, but they have a whole library of audio, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, the pictures you get are usually of hospitals and, tent hospitals and things like that. And then it's personal stories, you know.
And how many personal stories have you been able to tell in your radio piece?
Well, ours are pretty, wide, and it's usually of the experts will tell a story to illustrate a particular thing. Gareth's got quite a few which are really interesting, and some are quite amusing. I mean, can you be amusing about it? But it is, because personal stories are personal stories, I mean, my personal story is that my grandmother, who was alone on a farm, had to take the planks from the pantry to build the coffin because there were no more coffins for her husband. So, personal stories always have some little piece in it that is original. And
every you'll find something unique in every story, won't you?
I think my motivation with this is not to let it slip over the horizon of memory. And hopefully this is going to be podcast as well.
Okay, so for people wanting to listen, what's the show called?
It'll come under Preserving Memories, but it's called Pandemic, and it starts this Sunday at 11:30 on Arrow Radio 92.7 FM.
So every Sunday for the next 3 weeks.
That's right. And then podcasts usually come about a week later.
I think it may be the same day you can get the podcast. So people can go onto the Arrow FM website and find the podcast sometime after Sunday. And everyone should listen, take a listen. 45 minutes is a pretty, you can keep your attention. The thing I love about radio is I just put it on while I'm doing the dishes.
That's right.
You just can have it everywhere while you're cleaning the house. The radio on.
And the thing with podcasts, you can download them onto your MP3 player or something and listen at any time then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, Margie, thank you so much for coming in to tell us about that. I'll definitely be tuning in.
Good, thank you.
And, I'll look forward to learning about it because I was actually... meaning to look into it before the time came, and I got in touch with Gareth to ask, who do I talk to about the flu pandemic if I wanted to write a story, and he said, well, actually me.
Yes.
And it's all the information's already online, ready for you. So
it's amazing.
He's done a good job.
You start digging, and as I say, Professor Rice has got a book out, which is in the bookshops now, and although I have to say, when I went to Almo's Books in Carterton and we did a search, there are not many. There's a few odd novels. There's one, we're looking for New Zealand stories.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Rice is the best of the lot. So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, good one. All right, Margie.
Well,
I'm sorry, I haven't even lined up any music to cut to right now, but I probably should get on with the events today.
Yes,
so thank you so much for popping in.
Yeah.
And I don't feel rude, you just finding your way out because you're very familiar with this place.
I am. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, today's the 19th of October, and we'll just have a little look about what's happening in the region, eh? So tonight, if you want some musical entertainment, you can head to Club Wairarapa, where Mr. Emerald will be performing. It's $10 on the door. It's a night of non-stop music, human dancing, they say, and of course, affiliated members and their guests are free, apparently. So, Mr. Emerald, I don't know what sort of music or anything that guy's up to, but head along if you've got nothing else to do. Of course, there's the tours at Stonehenge Aotearoa in Carterton, which you can get on board with. You can either head, if you wanted a tour, a public guided tour, they run on the weekends from 11 a.m, but otherwise they're open from 10 until 4. With a door charge. This is an exciting thing happening in Masterton. There's the block party. That's happening all around the block now. What is the block? The block is going to be so Bruce Street, Dixon Street, Park Road and Queen Streets. I think that might actually be Queen Elizabeth Park. So this is free. I believe might be to do with the Masterton District Council. They've got like 100 words, like 400 words in front of me. I'm not going to be able to read it all out, but I'll just run through the top part of it. So basically, the whole block has come together to throw a party. There's going to be over 40 free activities for the family around the northern Masterton CBD block of King, Bruce Dixon, Park Streets. So there's going to be arts, crafts and games, music and food, and Māori arts. Big brass band with a brass ensemble. Live music at Con Art and Aratoi in the middle of Queen Street. Come and see art from 10 African countries at Aratoi and make a mask. Print Masterton made drain and manhole covers into tote bags. A free bouncy castle at Trust House Recreation Centre, open day and free entry to the woolshed. Oh, that's pretty neat. Tours for kids at the Aratoi Collection, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Behind the scenes tour at Wairarapa Archive. Steampunk workshop at King Street Artworks. Open day and free entry to Come Sew With Me. Weave a reusable kiti. Carving and pottery demonstrations at Te Patu Kituki. You can learn about nature in the CBD with open air life at Te Pa. There's Chinese cultural activities in front of Max Fish and Chips, special Thai food and bubble tea at Thai Array Mark. There's a special Ugandan coffee at Don Luciano. Jeff Walker photography trail around the block, which is a way to see Uganda, because of course Jeff, I think lives in Uganda these days. He's got 2 little twin boys now, doesn't he? Very cute. He always puts photographs up of them, but it looks like he's got a photography trail around the block with the images he's taken or captured in Uganda. Also photos and stories of Masterton by Anna Rutherford along WBS Wall. There's the book sale and art activity at Masterton Library Square, art sale and giant crossword at Master Bowl. There's barbecue, bake sale, sausage sizzle, candy floss, real fruit ice cream and much more, they say. So, Queen Street will be closed from the library to ASB Bank from 7am until 2pm, and there'll be live music in the street. So that sounds like a super fun day tomorrow. So take your family along. Masterton will be the place to be, 10am until 2. Just head up and look for the action, I guess. So that's the block party. They put this on last year. I believe it was a super success. So Cobblestones have got an event down in Greytown tomorrow. So Masterton and Greytown competing for people. You could head to one before heading to the other. Cobblestone Museum Feet and Activities Day. It's free. So it's a fun family day with many activities to enjoy. The Great Cobblestone Pie Bake-Off will be going on, featuring gourmet pies made by Wairarapa Cafes, who will be the winner this year. There's going to be vintage cars and machinery in action, blade shearing, old-fashioned wood turning, good old-fashioned fun games for the kids to play and win prizes. There'll be tug of war, old school in action, and fabulous food to purchase. There's no EFTPOS though, so you've got to have cash. And when we're talking about blade shearing, I watched blade shearing for the first time on Sunday when I watched, who was it? Was it Peter? Gosh, I can't remember his name. He's shearer from down south. He sheared Susie, that feral sheep that they picked up north. And that was a great thing to witness. She was so big. She was like massive, but she looked very neat and tidy and a lot smaller once she had her wool shorn off, and they're going to enter her piece of wool into the Guinness World Records, Guinness Book of World Records for the longest length of hair. I think it was actually, I know that it was 550 millimetres, so just over half a metre long was how long her hair had been growing, and they think it had been growing for about 4 years. That's how old they think the sheep was. So we've got another event here in Greytown, Kiwiana Degustation by Ant North. So he's a good chef. He's got a new shop, I believe. It's in Wakeland House, I think. So this is an adults only. It's a 7-course degustation. It's $115. So 123 Main Street, and I think that's Wakeland House there. So Ant North launches his degustation series with an iconic look at Kiwi cuisine, celebrating the best of Aotearoa over 7 courses. Renowned Wairarapa chef Ant North will take you on a journey of memories and exquisite flavours. Spaces are strictly limited, so book your table now in Ant's elegant dining room at 123 Main Street, Greytown. So if you want to book in, you can go to Ant North's website and book in there, or you can call no, I've got a cell phone here. The number to call if you want to book then is 027 782 3925. So if you want to write that down, you should get a pen and write it right now. 027 782 3925. You can also email chef@antnorth.co.nz. And so this is a 7-course degustation happening over Labour weekend. Ant North will be cooking for you. Wish I could go along to that. There's going to be street drumming with Jonas at the block party. So Jonas Kokol, he'll be, I'm sure he's going to have lots of instruments there, and you can get involved. He's going to bring along about 50 drums. Wow. I was telling my partner how many instruments this guy had last night, and I said he couldn't even fit them in his house, and like 50 drums just to start with. That's probably not all the drums he's got. So Jonas will be at the Northern Queen Street, so 23 Queen Street, don't know what shop that is, but he's going to be there from 10:30 until 2 tomorrow. Tour for kids at Aratoa. Yep, we've talked about that one. Hillbilly to Hard Rock. This is happening at St James Union Church tomorrow from 1:30. St James Union Church is 116 High Street in Masterton. Hillbilly to Hard Rock is a group that gathers on the 3rd Saturday of each month using an open mic concert format. Hillbilly to Hard Rock is a genre-inclusive gathering for both emerging and established singers and musos. And to perform, the drill is simple. Just sign in when you arrive, get up and perform when your turn comes around. And if you'd rather just come along and listen to the music, then you're more than welcome to do so. There's backing available for singers, and musos can be provided by the resident band Pepper if required. But they ask that you bring along at least 3 chord charts for each song that you wish to play, so the band can provide some good backing for you. And their aim is to provide an enjoyable, supportive and family-friendly musical experience for everyone. So I guess this is a good sort of opportunity if you are getting into your music and you want to perform in a friendly environment, you know, sort of just get over that stage fright. This would be a good place to do it. So Hillbilly to Hard Rock, they're at the St James Union Church on the 3rd Saturday of each month. So that's tomorrow. They're there from 1:30 until 4:30, and for adults it's $5 on the door, and teens are $3 on the door. Yeah. They've got, what's this? A steampunk workshop at King Street Artworks. This is tomorrow. It's part of the block party. It's open from 10 until 2. A free steampunk workshop for the community. Start working on your costume for the steampunk ball in December. Oh, that's pretty neat. So this is a sort of workshop to get your costume underway and probably get inspired and get some ideas about that. The steampunk ball, I think that's normally held in Featherston, I believe. Yeah. All right, what else is going on? Just rattling through all of these. Of course, there's the markets. Just quickly, there's 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. On Saturday, there's the Wairarapa Farmers Market outside the Farriers up on Northern Queen Street. That one runs from 9 until 1. Then you've got the Featherston Market just off State Highway 2 in the main little block of shops there. There's a sign pointing to fresh produce, so that one runs from 8 until 2. Then on Sunday, you've got the car boot sale on the corners of Essex and Chapel Street, as well as the Carterton Market that's in Memorial Square. I think that one runs from about 9 until 12:30. Now, Masterton Motorplex has got an event. It's the Burnout Comp. We're going away this weekend, but this is something that my Mikey would be into. The Masterton Motorplex Burnout Comp is happening on Sunday from 10 a.m. $20 on the door for adults 15 years and older, limited to 50 cars, 4, 6, 8 rotary classes, new young gun class for drivers between the ages of 16 and 18 that hold a restricted licence. If you wanted to enter, entry fee $60, but gate entry for spectators is $20, and if you're going to be a passenger, that's $10. So gates open at 7 a.m. The rego and scrutineering is from 7:30 to 9 a.m. Then there's the driver's brief at 9:30. Skidding starts at 10 to 4. Entry form and car photo must be received prior to the event. All entries have to be approved by MMP, and entrance will be confirmed after closing date. Entry forms you can pick up. You can go to Masterton Motorplex to find the entry form. They've also got a link to it here on Event Finder. So that's something if you're keen to get fast this weekend. Now, Pukaha Mount Bruce, which is home to the white kiwi, who is super cool, as well as Freckleton, the brown kiwi. These guys have got, I think, something special for locals this weekend. I'll just read this straight out. Something is emerging from the forest. Join us to launch a new look for the National Wildlife Centre and celebrate our success at our Community Open Day, a fun day filled with laughter and learning. There will be entertainment, nature-inspired craft stalls, free guided tours, and plenty of fun activities for all ages from 10 until 3. Entry is by koha donation. Come and meet the Pukaha partners, see the wildlife and hear the stories of how we work to protect the forest and help New Zealand's unique flora, fauna and wildlife. So this is a great opportunity to head along to Pukaha. Normally it's $20 on the door, so koha entry is awesome. So this is on Sunday from 10 until 3. Got a few more things to get through. There's the junior golf clinics. This is at the Masterton Golf Club every Monday from 4:30 till 5:30. So it's $80 to get your kid in, and I don't know, I think that might cover more than just the 1 week. Yeah, cost includes free junior membership to the Masterton Golf Club. So there's the junior Masterton Golf Club junior golf clinics every Monday at the moment from 4:30 till 5:30. And then in Greytown, we've got the Country Market. That's at Stella Bull Park from 9 until 1 this Sunday. So that's always a fun event, that one. Now, if you're into Mahjong, you can get involved with the Mahjong Club at the Featherston Community Centre. They meet every Monday from 1 until 4, and it's $2 entry for that. Just going to the next page, see if we've got anything else. There's the Tuesday Community Art. That's at the Featherston Community Centre every Tuesday from 10 a.m. And I think that's a bit of a bargain. That's a painting class. Is it with Jude? No, Julie? Where is it? Julia. She hosts this painting class. It's just $2. That's a bit of a bargain. So on Tuesdays from 10 until 1. At the Featherston Community Centre. Also, there's Art for Everyone at the Community Centre on Tuesdays from 7 until 9. It's also a koha, and this is run by Sandy Fletcher. Hatha Yoga with Nikki is at the Featherston Community Centre on Wednesdays from 7 p.m. Shirley Corlett book launch. This is happening. And there's a reading and signing, at the Masterton District Library this Thursday, 5:30, next Thursday, so the 25th of October, 5:30 to 7. Meet the author, Shirley Corlett. What's her book? A Catastrophe of Gigantic Proportions. That's a great title. Reading and signing at Masterton District Library from 5:30. Join the author for the launch of her newest book, A Catastrophe of Gigantic Proportions. Hear an excerpt from the book, have Shirley sign a copy, and indulge in nibbles and refreshments. I just want to know what this book's about. But there's nothing on here to tell me what it's about, so you'll just have to go along if you want to find out, I guess. The screening room seemed to have something on. What is it? The screening room's in Kurapuni, a very nice cinema, very comfortable seats. You get your own table and you can take drinks, and I think that's sort of a regular thing these days, taking drinks into the movies, isn't it? That's the highlight for me. All right. Oh, this is something to do with Halloween. How cool. So this is on Thursday, the 25th of October, a few days before Halloween. If you love a good horror or thriller, then get ready to delight in fright. For 1 week only in the lead up to Halloween, the screening room will become the Screaming Room. Very clever. Join us for some great Halloween-themed movies, from freaky new releases to some family classics, including the original Ghostbusters and Steven Spielberg's Gremlins. I watched Gremlins not that long ago, and I was surprised at how darn scary it was. I don't know how. It must have been real scary when I was a kid, because you sort of always thought of Gremlins as not one of the scariest films, but yeah, it was quite freaky. So then on Halloween night, as a great alternative to trick-or-treating, bring the kids dressed up in fancy dress and enjoy treats in a family screening of Hotel Transylvania 3. That must be a new one. Alongside this, we'll have some fun with Halloween-themed food and beverage. From the terrifying to the fun, it will be happening. Oh, I didn't read that out very well. Get your freak on and be sure to secure your seats as soon as possible. So films include Ghost Stories, The Exorcist, Ghostbusters from 1984, Gremlins, Hotel Transylvania 3, and Suspiria. Suspiria? That's 2018, so that must be a new release. To secure your tickets to the films, then visit the website. So the screening room for 1 week, the week of Halloween, will become the Screaming Room. Yoga with Odette is at the Featherston Community Centre on Thursdays from 7:30pm. Taco Bout It. Oh yeah, this sounds cool. I'm keen to go along to this. This is next Friday. Taco Bout It's going to be at the Carterton Community Courthouse on Holloway Street. Yep. So what is it? Hola amigos, Wairarapa, you're in for a treat. Get your taste buds ready for a taste of Mexico. Margaritas, nachos, tacos and churros. I'm definitely going to this. To book a table, get in touch. Taco Bout It. So it's taco, T-A-C-O, bout, B-O-U-T-I-A-T, N-Z. So taco bout it at gmail.com, or you can call 028, I haven't heard of that number before, 028 416 9... Well, I'm getting 02841696224. So that's 02861. Oh my God, I'm just not even going to read this. I'll just do it one more time. 02841696224. Those numbers were jumping places with me. So that's this. I think it might be like a sort of, it's a pop-up restaurant, yeah. So it's only going to be there, I think, on Friday and Saturday next week. So it's going to be open from 5 p.m. both days, Friday, Saturday. So book a table and head along to that. Super keen. And then another major event that's happening next Friday, so this is just a heads up, is the Wairarapa A&P show. It's at the Clearville Showgrounds, Chester Road, from 9 until 5. $10 entry on the door for adults, $5 for kids over 6, and $5 for kids under 6. Okay, I don't know why they had to specify that. But if you want a family pass, $20 for 2 adults and 2 children. So door sales. And this is the show where town meets country. Come along for a great day out in Wairarapa. There's plenty for the kids to do and see. And there's going to be a traditional gold pine pet corner, where there'll be various animals for the children to pet, I guess. Then on Sunday there'll be the pet lamb and pet dog sections running. So bring your pet lamb or dog along to take part. There'll be the equestrian section runs all 3 days. Okay, so it looks like this runs, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's all next weekend. There's going to be rides. There'll be a bar with wine and beer. There'll be heaps of food stalls. Lots of machinery on display, I believe. Lots of agricultural thingamajigs happening. So, yeah, the Wairarapa A&P show, that's next Friday. Okay, it's 8:52. You're almost sick of me, so I'll sign out in a few minutes. But let's have a quick look at the weather. So the situation for the country today is a ridge of high pressure sits over most of New Zealand throughout the forecast period. Wairarapa regional forecast today, fine, with early frosts possible, which I've seen, it is frosty out there. Northwesterlies developing in the morning, becoming strong and gusty in exposed places from afternoon. So today in Masterton, we've got a high of 23 degrees. Wow, that's awesome. So fine, chance early frost, gusty northwesterly developing in the afternoon. Today in Featherston, 21. In Dannyvirk, 20. In Palmerston North, 20. In Paraparaumu, 17. In Wellington, 16. So there's a difference, of 7 degrees between Wellington, 16, and Masterton, 23. I know where I'd rather be today. Looking at the weather tomorrow, fine with occasional high cloud, northwesterlies strong in exposed places. We've got a low of 8 tomorrow morning and a high of 21. So sunny and beautifully sunny on Sunday as well. Fine and northwesterlies easing. So a high of 23 on Sunday and a low of 8. And then Monday is Labour weekend and we've got a high of 23, but there's going to be a few showers and southerlies developing. So Saturday and Sunday is the days for washing. All right, just looking around New Zealand today, just so we can compare. Auckland, partly cloudy, 20. Hamilton, fine, 21. Tauranga, fine, 18. Gisborne, fine, 20. New Plymouth, fine, 17. Blenheim, fine, 24. Wow. Man, there's some high temperatures down in the South Island. Christchurch, fine, 25. That's the highest. Timaru, fine, 23. Queenstown, fine, 20. And Dunedin, fine, 21. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. You've been listening to WHAM Wairarapa with me, Hayley Gastmeyer, on Arrow FM. This podcast will be out later today and I'll post it on the Facebook page. If you haven't gone to like the WHAM Facebook page, you should. And you should get in touch with me if you want to be a guest on the show or if you want to let me know about an event that's going on. I can let everyone else know on the show next Friday. So, yes, please get in touch if you want to be a part of it. So everyone, if you're going away this weekend, please drive safely and have a great and safe week. And I'll be back next Friday morning at 8 a.m-ish to tell you what's happening around this awesome region. All right, ka kite. Oh, hey, wait, before I go, thank you Trust House for sponsoring the show. See ya.